programming continuous meditations and live conversations from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. So we would love you to join us for this Saturday for this all-day event. In today's practice, we'll be waking up to our senses. Now, the simple way to think about meditation, I think this is really helpful, is that the movement we're making from ordinary experience to meditation is a movement from thinking predominantly to sensing. Now, thinking isn't bad. Of course, we need to think. But our experience is often rather one-sided. We can be caught up in our thoughts. And that means we're out of touch with something else. We're out of touch with our bodies. And also, thinking is a big part of difficult states of mind like stress or anxiety or depression. And we think ourselves deeper into those states. Do you know what I mean? We worry. And our worrying takes us deeper into that state of anxiety and so on. So when we connect with the senses, it rebalances us. It shifts the balance from something that's predominantly thinking, something that's much more balanced and about sensing. Of course, the thinking doesn't stop. And anyone who's ever done any meditation will know that. It's not like we switch into sensing mode. But the great thing about having this idea of shifting the balance is it lets us know where to place our attention, what we're trying to do. We're taking our attention out of our thoughts and into our body, and we can do that in really simple ways by feeling the body, feeling the breath, sensing what's here. A really simple thing to do, very natural thing to do, and it has this restorative, refreshing effect. It also opens up something else beyond just being aware of our body. Okay, so let's get ourselves ready to do that. Let's find a way to sit, feet on the floor, right? So if we're moving into awareness of the body, we're moving into our senses, let's start with how we hold the body. So, feet on the floor, and then maybe just roll your shoulders. So just letting them roll. If you've got any weakness or injury in your shoulders, then obviously just use your judgment about what's right for you. But for most people, this should be absolutely fine. Just rolling the shoulders and really feel those sensations. Just sense that squeezing and then that easing, that release. Let's try going. Oh no, first of all, let's connect this now with the breath. So breathing in and feeling the sensations as the shoulders rotate, and breathing out. Even having a sense that what's leading this is the breath. And so go at your own speed, according to your own breathing cycle. And then we'll go the other direction. So rolling the shoulders forward. And so remember, moving from thinking to sensing. So just activating the senses in this very simple way enables us or gives us the opportunity to pay attention to these sensations and just sit for a moment. We can do one more stretch. I'm going to hold my arms outstretched with my hands facing up. I'm going to bring my arms above my head, and then we'll change the direction of the hands and let them float down, okay? Now, only do this if you're confident for yourself that this is what's right for your body. If it's not right because of an injury or weakness, don't do it. Just sit quietly. So I'm just going to let the arms come up above the head. Just feel the extension, and then let the arms float down, facing downwards, and then floating up, palms upwards on the in-breath. Give yourself a nice stretch at the top, and then float down on the out-breath. Do remember that always with exercises, you must take responsibility for your own body and not follow what the instructor says, just because I say it. Don't do it if it's not right for you. Okay, and then maybe just more intuitively feel what your body wants to do. Maybe move your neck, but just do that for yourself. And then come back to a stable, settled position. Let the body come to stillness and feeling in the body the effect of those movements. So the first of the senses we'll engage with is the sense of touch. So the bodily or kinesthetic sense. And that comes particularly at the points of contact, so where the hands rest on the knees, the feet on the floor, the bottom on the chair. All of those points of contact and sensation. And breathing, feeling the breath, and just become sensitive to the breath. So all of the ways that our tactile kinesthetic sense, a sense of touch, is receiving information, is activated as we sit and breathe. We can maybe place our hand on our heart. That's another source of contact, another sense of touch. Move it down to the belly. And in this way, we can also get a sense of how the body moves as we breathe. Rising and settling. Breath flowing in, breath flowing out. Remember, we're moving from thinking to sensing. So every time we notice thoughts, and there will be thoughts, and every time those thoughts take our attention, that's moving us back into that thinking zone. So we want to shift the balance back into sensing, back into the body. And that's all we really need to do to stay with the meditation. Every time we lose touch with it, every time thinking pulls us off, just get back in touch with senses. Feet on the floor, bottom on the chair, hands on our knees or in our lap. So sitting, resting, allowing space, and noticing sounds. Hearing is another of the senses. So one of the things that the mind does with sounds, perfectly naturally, is to label them. We think, bird, car, traffic, heating, whatever it might be in our range of hearing. So the label is still thinking about the sound. As we transit into the sensing focus, sensing mode, just taking in the sounds, as sensory experience. So some sounds are higher pitched, others are lower pitched, some are louder, some are quieter, some are sharp and others are soft. Some are pleasant to us, others are unpleasant or neutral. Even when things are unpleasant, like unpleasant sounds, we can still be aware of them. So just let resting, settling, letting the sounds flow through us. Let's come to other senses now. So taste and smell are less prominent. But if we bring our attention to the sense of smell, the olfactory sense, what's there? What do we detect or know or experience through the sense of smell? And now taste. Is there a taste in the mouth? Just giving it our attention. We don't have to activate the taste, by eating something. So just notice what's there in this resting state, this neutral state. The last of the senses that we haven't yet engaged is actually the strongest one, the one that tends to dominate. That's the visual sense. So let's just play with this. We could open our eyes very slightly if you've closed them. Now, there may be a temptation to look around the room, look around the place you are. But let's just keep our gaze steady. And just take in what's in your visual field. Maybe colours, so greens, blues, yellows, and all of the hues and subcategories. The browns and beiges and lemons and golds. Whatever's there in your field. The red part of the spectrum. And the grayscale from black to white. Silver in between. Grey. Let's closing our eyes again and coming back to the sense of touch. So of all the senses, touch is generally speaking the one that helps us to feel grounded and settled, in normal activities. So let's come back to that. Let's feel the feet on the floor. Feeling the hands resting on the knees. Feeling the whole height, extension of the body. Weight resting down. Bottom on the chair. Breathing, sensing. Just resting. Moving again and again from thinking to sensing. And as we sit, the other senses can be present. Sound, taste, touch. And then starting to make a transition. And a good way to do this is to activate the senses in a more active way. So rolling the shoulders, moving the fingers and toes. Maybe give yourself a stretch again, if that's right for you. Oh, it's always nice to do that. So, some questions. Comment here. When sensing sounds, I heard the whirring of the dryer, spinning of the clothes round and round and round. It's both rhythmic and relaxing. Lovely. Love being guided through the senses. Excited to try this in nature. Yes. Yes. It's lovely to do this sort of sensing activity outside. I don't know if you've ever heard of forest bathing. There's a practice, I suppose, that started in Japan, but it's very, very popular, at least in where I live now. It involves going into nature and not going for a big tramping walk, but just bathing in the experience, taking it all in, absorbing it. And, when we do a meditation like the one we just did, we really need to cut off from the visual senses in order to be aware of the other senses. But the visual sense is really important as part of our experience, especially in nature. And the other thing I'd say is there's just attending to our senses in daily life, but there's also what the arts can give us. The colours in a beautiful painting or photograph, the sound quality in music. Whatever approach we take, contacting our senses in this calm way is really a shortcut to staying in touch with ourselves, to staying grounded. And what I was saying about meditation, moving from thinking to sensing, we can apply in the day. If we're working or if we're worrying, then there will be lots of things to take us into thinking mode. That may be very productive, but we're going to need to keep on rebalancing if your experience of modern life is anything like mine. We can pay attention to our breath. We can do little stretches. We can notice the environment. And as the person writing in the chat said, we can attend particularly to nature. And the great thing about the senses and about nature is that it's always available to us. It doesn't have to be anything special. So I want to finish with a poem which is on this theme. It's a classic poem, but it's really a poem about mindfulness, but by one of my favourite poets, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And it's called This Lime Tree Bower, My Prison. So the story of the poem is that his friends have gone off. Coleridge has hurt his leg. His friends have gone off for a walk, and he starts off thinking, I wish I was with them. And then he looks around him and he thinks, hang on, there's a lot to look at here. You don't need to go anywhere. It's not amazing. So it goes like this. The end of it goes like this. Nor in this bower, this little lime tree bower, have I not marked much that has soothed me. Pale beneath the blaze hung the transparent foliage, and I watched some broad and sunny leaf, and loved to see the shadow of the leaf and stem above dappling its sunshine. And that walnut tree was richly tinged, and a deep radiance lay full on the ancient ivy, which usurps those fronting elms. And now, with blackest mass, makes their dark branches gleam a lighter hue, through the late twilight. And though now the bat wheels silent by, and not a swallow twitters, yet still the solitary humble bee sings in the bean flower. Henceforth I shall know that nature ne'er deserts the wise and pure. No plot so narrow, but nature there, no waste so vacant, but may well employ each faculty of sense and keep the heart awake to love and beauty. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Please continue to explore your meditation practice with us. You can check out our daily live meditations at roundglass.com or on the Round Glass Living app. Have a really, really great day. Stay in touch with with your senses, stay alive to love and beauty.